the gender that readily comes to mind is the male gender. But guess what? Times have changed. Times have evolved. And everywhere in the world, in Africa, Asia, Europe, Oceania, everywhere, women are making their mark in their chosen fields of endeavor. And on this program, week in, week out, we celebrate those individuals that we can say, yes, this person has done one thing or the other through his or her profession and has put Nigeria on that pedestal. And it's on that note, we welcome you to another beautiful time on Executive Discuss, coming to you on the network service of the NTA. My name is Ololade Adeniji Adele. Today, I have found myself in the home of a woman of many parts. She actually started off early in life, as a secretary. Somehow, I don't know how she got into, the field for which we have known her over these years. But one thing that strikes me is that this particular business that she has built actually started with part proceeds from the sales of Puff Puff. Yes, Puff Puff. I'm sure you're wondering if I'm going to be interviewing a Puff Puff seller. All right, why don't you get to meet my guest on the show today, and she'll tell us all about herself. Hello, ma'am. How are you? It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes, it's been ages.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Wow.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank
yes,
you.
And you have a beautiful home here, I must say.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Can you have your seat?
Thank you very much.
A day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Yes, you have seen my guest. For the purpose of a proper introduction, my guest today on Executive Discuss is Quincy Olasumbo Ayodele. She is the CEO, she's the founder, even though she tells me she's retired. But I definitely disagree with her because she's not tired. So she is the founder and CEO of Quincy Herbal Slimmers as we used to know it, but now Quincy Wellness and Naturopathic Center. It's good to have you on the show with us.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Now, as we always do on this program, so that our viewers get to really understand who the guest is and we get a feel of it. I know that, yes, you spent some of your early years with your grandmother and all of that, but quickly, tell us where you were born, when you were born, what your growing up years was like, schools you attended. Tell us.
Okay, I was born January 27, 1959. So that makes me to be 63 this year. And I grew up in the village, Olonshogo village in Ogun State. My parents dropped me with my grandma and they went to the United Kingdom to better their lives. So I was there for several years and I had my primary school education in that village, African Church School in Yobi village in Olonshogo as well. Then I went to New City Primary School in Mushi. So sometimes that Mushi thing, sometimes comes out
it
of
comes
me.
out. It manifests.
So, and then I now went to Comprehensive High School at Yetoro, also in Ogun State. And I went to Ogun State Polytechnic, and then Pittman's College in London, blah, blah, blah. The Nigerian College of Natural Medicine here in Nigeria. And there are so many things I've done over the years to develop myself, even before I branched into herbal medicine.
Yes, you grew up in the village with your grandmother. How did that impact your life?
Thank God I grew up in the village now. Yeah, I'm thanking God that I was in the village. But life in the village is peaceful. You don't have to have plenty of money. You don't even need more to have money in the house. I cannot remember when my grandmother has money at home. What's you going to use the money to do? We go to the farm to fetch our vegetables, our foodstuff. We harvest, palm kernels, and we do everything natural and fresh. And then we have pepper in the farm. We have locust beans. We have all these things. So it was very peaceful for me as an individual, and we didn't need to worry about what we were going to wear, or apart from Sundays, that we had only one attire that we wear to church on Sundays. And we didn't need money, we didn't need cars. Of course, there was no hospital. That was the only thing that I didn't like, but we were not sick. I was wondering, like about last week, if at that time there was malaria, because I had never experienced malaria back in the village, and yet we were sleeping outside in the mosquitoes. Do you understand? Also, until I got to Lagos, I got to know about malaria, about all these other diseases that people. We were not sickly as villagers as we were.
We have a guest here. We have another guest. Oh. Okay, she's found her cool spots there.
Yeah.
Yes.
As local as we were in the village, we had peace. We had peace. There was even no electricity. And
so
we didn't
life
feel it.
was basically simple and free for
yeah.
you then.
Very peaceful. Yeah.
Now, was that why you decided to branch into herbal medicine? Because I'm wondering, you trained, at Pittman's College, you were a secretary, you also became the, I think, special assistant to the chief executive at the defunct Societe General Bank, and then, boom, herbal medicine.
Well, because I grew up in the village and there was no hospital, and my grandmother had to go to the bush to go and fetch leaves to cook for us if any of us had temperature, growing up syndrome for children.
Yes.
Maybe temperature, occasional vomiting, diarrhea and stuff like that. So all she would do is to go to the farm and fetch the leaves and cook, and I drink it. Sometimes she rubs, sometimes she mixed with palm oil, so many things. And then of course I knew the names of what she was using for healing. So that was how I got used to herbal medicine. I never knew any other form of medicine until I got to Lagos. I wonder if malaria was
in existence then.
Yeah, at that time.
I want to believe it was. I want to believe it was. So your grandmother that you speak so fondly about, did she just have a basic knowledge of roots and leaves, or she was a practitioner of herbal medicine? Everybody
in the village of that age, I believe, had basic knowledge of medicinal plants, because that they had no idea of other treatments. So everybody that lived in the village at back then, at that age, especially in Ogun State, must have knowledge of medicinal plants. You have no choice. There is no other treatment. There is no other medicine. So, and then they transfer it from generation to generation. This is maybe her own grandmother or her own mother identified those plants for her, and then she was able to tell me, or they won't say this is this plant, but they will send you on errands to the farm.
Okay.
To go and fetch ewejiri, go and bring cocoa leaf, go and so, and then they will ask you to cook it. So by doing that, you're learning, you get used to it, and then if you need the thing, you just go there, or if you're on your own and you are no longer in the village, because it became useful to me when I came to Lagos. Thank God I lived in the village. By the time I came to Lagos, life in Lagos was a little bit scary for me. Too much noise everywhere, too many diseases that I've not heard of, and everybody was using the other form of medicine, which I had no idea at that time. Orthodox medicine, those who are using it, some of them were not, well, some were getting better, some were not getting better. So those that were not getting better, I used to introduce them to medicinal plants. Why don't you go and buy a bowl of this? I'll write it for them. Buy away this, buy away from Ilewe almost. You understand? Some of them obeyed, they bought and they drink and they were okay. Some, I don't know, you understand?
Yes.
So it helped me to settle down in Lagos.
Now, even though you moved to Lagos, because as a result of your marriage, you trained as a secretary, and I'm sure that you would have been, probably you would have found it a comfort zone for yourself, practicing what you trained for. How come you decided to leave it to now come into herbal medicine, even at that time?
I trained as a secretary, and actually I was working with Society General Bank. It was Dr. Olushola Saraki that employed me, and I later started working with Dr. Bukola Saraki. I actually lived with them in their house. So I would say that the mommy and daddy and that family, I belong to that family. They brought me up, and I was a good staff to them all those years. But in the bank, people were falling sick. They will fall sick. They will go to hospital, collect all these medicines. They were not getting better. Where did you get all this from? Okay, go and buy away this. I used to prescribe medicinal plants for them. For some of them, they don't know where Ilewe Omo store is. So I just decided to go to the store and then buy for them. Or sometimes I look around
for what you can find.
What I can find, because whatever disease you are suffering from inside a particular house, the medicinal plants you need to heal with is out there. So
yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I was told. That there's always something to heal you in your surroundings. So sometimes I look around. If I find the plants there, I take it. Or sometimes I go to the market and buy for them. So some of them started taking these things, probably in combination with the orthodox medication, and they were getting better. So from that time, I found it easy to tell. I wasn't selling anything that time, to say, okay, take this, take that, and things were getting better for them. But there was something in me that used to tell me that you can't continue to be something behind the typewriter all your time. But I saw that daddy was always giving money out to everybody, to this, that. It was a very... That's talking about Dr. Olushola Saraki of blessed memory.
So sometimes when I would need help. I'll feel pity for him to go again and add my own to the already plenty of people they were looking after. So I needed to earn extra income. You understand? I needed to do something for myself, and I needed to just start something. I liked my profession, but I wanted more than that. So I branched out on one of my yearly vacation, and I started selling puff-puff on the street of Awolowo Road.
Yes.
I wanted to support my husband. My husband was a young engineer at that time, and I had vision of how I want to bring my children, how I want them to grow up, which school, that because I grew up with the Sarakis, that exposure, actually helped
shaped
me. Yes, exposed me to that my children must have good education. So I needed to earn extra income to support my husband, to train my children, and to relieve my boss of my own burden. And that's how I find myself in herbal business.
Okay. So it was the need to do more, to have a better life, because you had an idea of what you wanted your life to be like. But tell me about this puff puff story, because that's something that I find really intriguing.
I wanted to start a business. I didn't have the money. My boss didn't want me to go because I wasn't suffering from anything, money or anything. No, they had
You
it.
didn't lack anything.
I didn't lack anything they were giving me. But I needed to start something, and there was no money. So let me go and raise money. So I went on the road of Awolowo Road. I cleared the place and then put pop-off, bought flour and the yeast and everything previous night, and then put pop-off in the morning as soon as I dropped my children in school.
Okay.
And then I will resume there. The thing is still there. I'll fry the pop-off to the go-slow people on Awolowo Road, and then they were buying it and I was selling. I actually sold a lot of, I made money from the pop-off selling. So, and within a week at that time, I made about 24,000 naira. I'm talking of in the 90s. 24,000 naira.
In a week?
Yes, in the 90s was a lot of money. We didn't have that much at that time. My husband didn't like it. I didn't want to tell my boss because obviously they would think that they didn't want me to leave. But they heard later that I was selling the purpose and they didn't like it.
They didn't like it.
They didn't stop my salary at the bank for almost like a year plus. But I made up my mind that I wasn't going to take the salary. I wanted to be myself. Let me come to my level. You understand?
Yes.
Because at that time I was brought up as a rich girl, living in a rich house and everything. But that was not me. If they now took me away from that place, they turned me back to the village.
How would you fit in?
How would I fit in? So let me just be who
Yourself.
I am. Let me start. I belong to the grassroots at that time. So let me start like that. But to the glory of God, God blessed the works of my hand. I sold the puff-puff. It was with courage. And I liked it. On the road, it's not puff-puff inside store. I was on the road. Then when I go and pick my children in school by 2 o'clock, this Toby and Marita, I'll take them to the puff-puff spot, put the puff-puff on their head to go and hawk the spare puff-puff under the bridge.
Traffic?
Yes, under the bridge of Obalende. There's some people are still there that they still know them as Omoni puff-puff. They'll hawk the puff-puff. So by 5 o'clock, we sell for the go-slow people. So around 6 or 7, we close to come back home. They will do their homework, take their bath, and get ready for the following day. Every day we were selling the pop-off like that. And we were selling. By that time, my husband traveled. He too came back with something. So me too, I open wardrobe. See how
Brought out the proceeds
so
of your
like,
puff-puff.
where is the place? I said, please don't stop me, because it's not a shop. It's not anything. It's on the road. Say, oh my God, why would my wife go and be selling on the road?
And for how long did this go on?
I sold pop-off on Awolowo Road for like 2 years. And then from that pop-off selling, at the point of the pop-off selling, that my colleague that was selling apple, Yajamiu, she's still there, that was selling apple. Well, maybe one of the children will fall sick. I'll bring agbo, give to them. And there was a particular day somebody had an accident on that road, on Awolowo Road, towards School of Nursing side. That's where my spot was. Had an accident. The driver ran away, and she was a small girl. Nobody was ready to attend to her. You know, the rule of
Yes.
you can't take.
Getting a police report.
And I knew how to actually stop the bleeding with medicinal plants. I looked around and how to actually resuscitate, at least do some
First
what they
aid.
call
CPR.
CPR now. So I had to, I said, well, if I perish, I perish. I don't care even if they now have to take me and lock me up, that it was me. Let me save this small girl's life. So I went there, did whatever I needed to do, carried her to the Army Hospital.
Okay, Creek Hospital.
Creek Hospital there. And then they took her from me and then they treated her. So all these treatments were going on. The puff-puff buyers knew I had knowledge of medicinal plants. When they come, they actually like jedi.
Oh.
do you have a agbo for hemorrhoids?
Yeah.
Do you have medicine for backache? Do you have? So I was doing it for them about no cost, because I didn't even know that I can.
You could make money.
I can make money from. I did not have idea, because the medicinal plants are there. I know them. It's not for me to just go and pluck it, prepare and give to people. So I did that a lot for so many people until federal government of Nigeria, maybe they found me out, sort of. They sent, that's Nigerian College of Natural Medicine.
Okay.
They paid under the Ministry of Science and Technology. So I think they heard about what I was doing under the bridge in our
spot.
And then they came visiting. That at that time they wanted to start development of herbal medicine. I had no idea of what they were saying, but it's okay. They needed me to come and identify some plants for them. They were writing some books. So I followed them. When I went to the place, I saw people wearing coat and tie. And all they were talking about was about pawpaw leaf. I said, so all this my plants in the professors, so they wore coat, tie, everything. They sat down inside air conditioner. I thought it was something else they were going to talk to,
doing.
Then they were talking about plants that I thought they were just common plants. I didn't know that they have become important. I saw cloves. The important personality here. Do you understand?
Yes.
I saw so many things there. So I agreed to identify the medicinal plants for them. The professor that came was Professor Adewo of blessed memory. Now, so I agreed to, so they took me to some forests and then started identifying the medicinal plants, started telling them their uses and so on and so forth.
Now, having started herbal medicine practice, you were invited by officials from the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, and that was what gave rise to your practice.
Yes, from that point, that exposed me to the practice. They sent me back to school to go and read about natural medicine. Yes, you had the knowledge, you know about the medicinal plants. What about the science behind it?
Yes.
I said, there is science behind that book. Okay, I was ready. And since it was like a scholarship
for
or something, so I went back to their school and they taught me a lot of things. So thank God I went to that school, Nigerian College of Natural Medicine. That gave me the exposure to the science behind my knowledge of all the various medicinal plants that I knew, and it exposed me to the world, and I found myself advocating to, for saying things like nature heals, proving it, you understand, and by going on with that advocacy, of course, thanks to NTA at that time also, I would say that I'm NTA's baby. They were not allowing me to rest. They were always coming to ask me questions about these new things that I've found, and that exposed me to the world to the extent that WHO sought me out and appointed me as an expert committee member on development of African traditional medicine, which took me to around the world. I find myself whining and dining with presidents of nations because of this our medicinal plants. Some people tried to discourage me, but I persisted, and I pioneered all that. To the glory of God, it's not just me.
Yes.
I think God just used me anyway to separate the fetish beliefs from the medicinal properties in medicinal plants. Because even the federal government also appointed me as the Secretary General. They made us to form a pioneer body for our practice
about medicine,
about medicine, and they appointed me as the pioneer Secretary General. It was actually President Olusegun Obasanjo that insisted that it must be me. That exposed me more and more to the practice, and it made me to know even more than I ever imagined. And it also helped the business, the practice now as a business to expand, because people were coming and they were getting healed, and it was more of like I was used. I would say that nature decided to use me.
Use you. I know that at that time, yes, you were a pioneer of several, and you didn't have any forebears that you could be looking up to, that this is how they did it, this was how it was done by them. You were just operating based on the knowledge that you had. How easy or otherwise was it for you, knowing that, okay, there is no guiding light, there is nobody there that I'm seeing as a precursor to what I'm doing, and you were just like thrown into the ocean of herbal medicine in Nigeria like that? How was it for you, easy or otherwise?
That was why I always say that the federal government played a very good part, played a very good role in the development of African traditional medicine in Nigeria. Also WHO. So they took me in, and then with what I was telling them, they started formulating policies. You know, we started talking about how to develop it, the dosage we are still going to talk about, how to the preparation, the packaging, you know. So, and then we formulated almost everything, almost all the templates people are using in the world today, all over the world. I happen to be the practitioner in the field that they were using in Africa. I happen to, some professors of medicines, of natural medicines were there, researchers of herbal medicines were there, and so on and so forth. People who have written books, but they were not the practitioners. I was the practitioner. I was in the field. So they needed me. They needed to find out, okay, all these herbs we are talking about, let's see the effect, the effect on the patients before we can write it down and pass it that, okay, after test, so this one can be developed. That's after that you start having things like herbal toothpaste. You start having things like a cough medicine, herbal cough medicine, and so on and so. Some people sat somewhere, you know, wrote down the formula, the policy, criticized and scrutinized it before it came out to be anything in the market. And to the glory of God, I happen to be that practitioner on seat in that WHO Brazzaville headquarters, most times formulating those formulas with them, and then writing pharmacopoeia of traditional medicines, you know, identifying the medicinal plants, telling them where they can find it, at the same time registering useful and knowledgeable practitioners here in Nigeria for federal government to have record of people who practice traditional medicine as the Secretary General here. So I had a lot of things in the ocean, like you said it, but with God on my side, He gave me that wisdom to be able to navigate through and guide them through sincerely, even at WHO level. We wrote about collaboration, how we can integrate the existing healthcare into the traditional medicine, how we can integrate traditional medicine
into the
existing healthcare of any member state. I happen to be the person that presented that paper, and communique was passed, and that is the paper, the template everybody is using right now. You understand?
Now,
so
you have done all this, you have achieved all of this, and I'm coming back to the issue of dosage.
Okay.
Much as, yes, we know that we have a lot of these medicinal plants, one thing that gives me cause for concern is the issue of dosage, where, I mean, you're not sure, okay, you're asking me to take 3 leaves, okay, maybe 1 bulb of onion and all of that. How tried and tested are these quantities for you to be able to say, okay, this is the dosage that fits a certain age, a certain weight, or a certain gender? How do we begin to convince people like me about the dosage?
This was a battle. They took me up on that, and of course God defeated them. In fact, they took me to Namibia to come and talk about the dosage in front of scientists and in front of professors that should prove it, that there's no dosage in tradition. So they were not even ready to develop it. I said, what are you telling me that there's no dosage in traditional medicine? All of you are Africans. Traditional medicine is for Africans by Africans. And because you are black and of this age, your mother or your grandmother must have given you agbo, some kind of herbal preparation. And I'm sure she didn't just open your mouth and put a whole pot inside your mouth. She must have given you, they will say, 1 handful of something, or they will say 1 shot, we call it that gassy, of a herbal preparation, or they can say take it 2 or 3 times a day. They can mix something together and say use your middle finger and let the patient lick it. All those ones were dosages.
Yeah, but how do we get the dosage
at that time? So I now put it to the scientists then that you guys should go back to your laboratory and go and get the dosage for us according to that will meet the standard. So they went back to the field, to their laboratories, and actually they came back with dosage of herbal medicine. That's why you have like cough medicine that I say they'll write it, take 2 tablespoonfuls, maybe 3 times daily. We have a lot of herbal preparations now in the market. You have aloe vera capsule.
So they have been scientifically tested to get the proper dosage for each constituent
by pharmaceutical companies. So you contract manufacture your product. They will make it to standard, and then there is scientific dosage for every herbal preparation now. Anybody that is still talking of that there's no dosage in herbal preparation is an illiterate in Africa. That's how I'll put it, because there is dosage.
Now, we've been talking so much about, how you got into herbal medicine, what you have achieved so far. I think I'll want to take a pause on this conversation now, because it's important that we get to meet members of your family. It's important we get to meet maybe 1 or 2 members of staff or people that are close to you, so that we really understand where, we're taking this conversation to.
Okay.
It's still Executive Discuss coming to you on the network service of the NTA, and I have been having this conversation, this chat with Quincy Olasumbo Ayodele, the CEO, the founder of Quincy Herbal Slimmers, now Quincy Wellness and Naturopathic Center.
I would say she's highly an adorable woman. And she's respectable. She has everything that it takes to be a woman and everything that it takes to be a wife. She's humble and she's a wife. I didn't say she's a woman because there is a difference between woman and wife. She had been a wife material and she has never disappointed me. So I can say to every extent that she's an adorable woman. My wife is a perfectionist. And because she's a perfectionist, one last thing my wife wants to hear is that she made mistake. She would not like to hear that. And because she didn't like it, she struggles a lot to make sure she's on the perfect and the right track. And that has modulated her character, her behavior, her relationship, either with the children or with myself or with other people.
She's my mother, and I'll say she's been a pivotal and very important role in my life, and also shaping how I have lived my life, how I raise my children, how I, see the world. She's a power woman. She's calmed down a little bit now that she's a grandma. And she used to be really, 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 really tough with us. But that really shaped, us, me and my siblings, in becoming who we are. She's a go-getter, and she doesn't take no for an answer. And one thing I also like about her is she's very resourceful. Generally speaking, whatever it is that she needed to do to make ends meet in a safe, holy, and effective manner, she was very resourceful with that and involved us with it. So she taught us how to be entrepreneurs, and we didn't have to go to school to learn it. We literally just learned it, experiential knowledge from just, being her children. I'll say she has a quick temper, and she loves her husband to a fault. Sometimes we even wonder, does she love us more than the husband, or how?
But she's a fierce, loving grandma. I think first and foremost, at this point in her life, she's all about her grandchildren. She's fiercely devoted to them, their activities. She's very much involved in their lives, and they love her so much. She's a best friend, a confidant, prayer warrior. Growing up, she was all about the herbal remedies. So it was not a house where you have a headache, you take Panadol first. You would first drink water, you would first take some sort of agbo or the other, I grew up in Ikoyi, but agbo was first and foremost. She, as you know, grew up in the village, so she brought that with her. So we grew up half Oyinbo and oh my God, and the other half of us knew our roots. She never let us forget that. We helped her make the remedies. We helped her to fine-tune it. As we grew up, we're like, Mommy, there's a more efficient way of doing this. We can encapsulate the herb. We can increase the dosage this way. We can, write it down. We can document the processes. So I've definitely seen firsthand the impact and the rise of Quincy and the herbal medicine industry.
A wonderful mother-in-law, grandmother, and spiritual leader. I would say that she's probably integral in building my own spirituality and bringing me closer to Christ. And I see the structure and the foundation that she helps to give the children, to really make sure that they're grounded in the Word of God, and that she passes on all of her wisdom and learning to the children.
She's very kind. When she travels, we'll travel with her. And she's a very loving woman. And she prays a lot. And my grandma is the best grandma in the world.
My grandma is a very beautiful and loving woman. She's very kind and she's very sweet, and she's just the sweetest person of all.
My grandma is nice nice and kind. When I'm sick, she always helps me get the medicine and call somebody for drip.
Grandma is Mama. She's very kind to me. She helps me do anything I want. Whenever I hurt my arm, she helps me feel better.
Quincy Ayodele is a very strong woman. She's a perfectionist. She's a no-nonsense woman. I mean, if you're working with her, you have to be very smart. You have to be proactive. You have to know what to do. Just a signal, you should be able to get whatever she's saying or wants you to do at the time. And when she gives you an assignment, she wants it delivered. She doesn't want she doesn't want her reminding you of whatever she has given you to do. She has taught me that healthy living, it's not about exercising alone. It's about what goes into you, what you eat.
Glad to know you're still here with us, and we have met a few members of her family. I mean, you heard Toby there. Yes, I want to believe that Toby is a younger version of you, because she seems to have taken everything from you. But moving forward, now you got into the practice of herbal medicine. You left the boardroom, you left the bank and faced herbal medicine head on. But of course, I also know that you seemed to carve your niche in the area of slimming and skin treatment. How come? What influenced that area of concentration for you?
Okay. When I went to Nigerian College of Natural Medicine, they taught us general practice, and then they taught us how you have to specialize in a particular. You want to be general practitioner, okay, but it's good to specialize. So that was how I specialized on treatment or management of obesity and skin treatment, and that's how I just focused on that, because herbal medicine is very wide. You cannot be jack of all trades in the practice. Women or men who are fat, especially women, they cannot have glowing skin because fat will have covered them. Some of them, that's why we added the skin treatment. Some of them have this infertility problem that I discovered that fat has blocked their fallopian tubes. Have blocked this. You know, once we eliminate the fat, the excess fat, they get pregnant. Most of them even call their children Quincy, and so on and so forth. And obesity got me busy. Treatment of obesity got me so busy because there are so many clients, so many people that needed my services in Nigeria. Even up until now, it still got us so busy. And we just had to keep adding other things, other diseases that are associated
with obesity.
Now,
when you look at your journey so far in this industry, you have obviously made a mark, because you're a pioneer, like we said before, in these various fields. But looking at it and looking at your home front, how has it impacted your home front, your family?
Yeah, my family has been quite supportive. My husband is a very supportive husband. He most times helps me to maybe we talk about the papers. If I was a resource person in another country, my children have been in the business, in the field with me right from the start. And I told them, I will take you to America, you go and read anything you want to read. But you have to come back to Nigeria to join this business.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a condition. So thank God one of them was in the medical field in the US. So she came back, and so she joined. The other one was a lawyer. She came back, she joined. But the medical one is one that is actually in the forefront with me. And she has actually transformed traditional medicine in my own clinic. and of course in Nigeria, and definitely in Africa. I thank God that the development, that traditional medicine is developed in my lifetime, you understand? And I will still pray, and I pray that it will continue to develop even more than what it is now. About 2 weeks ago, WHO came to Nigeria, a team called COVID-19 Response from WHO, of which I was also part of the team. So we visited a lot of companies, a lot of government offices in Abuja, and we visited NIPRI. You know NIPRI? Yes. And when I saw what NIPRI was doing, I didn't even believe that Nigeria has something like that. That we don't even need to take anything to America or to abroad to go and produce. To test. We can contract manufacture them. Practitioners can talk to them. They will manufacture according to NAFDAC standard, and then we can have more herbal products in Nigeria for exports, so that we can stop relying on oil money, which is even not there anymore, and then try to eliminate poverty, because there is money in herbal medicine.
Now, that brings me to something that has bothered me for some time, and you mentioned it earlier too, and that's the level of acceptability of herbal medicine in Nigeria. Now, I'm coming from the perspective of the Chinese, because herbal medicine is maybe one of their highest income earners in China, and I know that at some point the Chinese were even coming to Nigeria to come and harvest some of our plants to take back and then produce and send back, bring back to us to come and sell. I remember the case of the Artemisia plant. Yes, very, very clearly. Now I'm wondering, what is the level so far? You being an on-hands person, how readily acceptable has herbal medicine become in Nigeria?
I would say the thing that has forced them to accept herbal medicine is COVID-19. Because people no longer hide to enter herbal homes now. They come with their cars, they drive. I'm going to Quincy. I want to consult for this, for that. So the acceptability of herbal medicine has happened.
Thanks to COVID-19.
COVID-19 has forced everybody back to nature. You cannot be healed in one way of COVID-19. There can be management, so there can be this, there can be that, but the after effects that COVID-19 will leave on you, you have to combine with herbal medicine, and they know.
So COVID-19, in essence, has forced us to accept herbal medicine practice in Nigeria. You're a Christian, but you're also a herbal medicine practitioner. Some people will be of the opinion that this is at cross purpose, that herbal traditional medicine should be at cross purpose with your belief in Christ. How do you marry them together?
They have no relationship. I'm a herbal medicine practitioner, practicing with medicinal plants, doing evidence-based practice. I don't even need to chant incantation on pawpaw leaf. I don't even need to pray on it, actually. Do you understand? Because it already has its medicinal properties. But as a Christian, I still pray. Of course, when I started talking about herbal medicine in Nigeria, they called me all sorts of names. Oh, she's a Mami water. Oh, she's a spirit. And yet, I've always been a Christian all my life.
And don't forget, you are yellow. So you fit our perception.
Whatever. So she's from the water, something. She's my. They called me all sorts of names, but that did not deter me. It didn't discourage me, because I knew that they did not know. They didn't have that knowledge. Even in the Bible,
my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Plants is prescribed in the Bible as medicines in several chapters of the Bible. So why will I now run away and say, oh, they are calling me, and I'm not chanting incantation? I don't even know incantation. I'm not doing it. I have never seen it before. Do you understand? But you have constipation and present yourself to my clinic. I will give you pawpaw leaf, pawpaw therapy and everything. There and then your bowels, without even saying anything, don't even believe, just drink it. Your bowels will open and you start going to toilet.
Now, your final words on this program today. Definitely you have made your mark in your chosen field as an executive, as a chief executive, and we cannot talk about herbal medicine in Nigeria and not mention Quincy Ayodele.
I'll say, first of all, I'll give thanks to the God Almighty, God of nature himself, who have taken me from that humble beginning and taken me this far. And has even made me to bear fruit in the life of my daughter that is now even faster than me. That girl is so restless, but she's achieving a lot of things. And in the field of herbal medicine, my advice to Nigerians is that, please, if you have gone back to nature, remain there. If you have not gone back to nature, please go back to nature, because it's only nature that can keep you healthy. It will keep you away from doctor's office. Everybody must be taking lemongrass tea as tea. You understand? That will cleanse your system, your blood. It will cleanse the blood. It's rich in vitamin C. It will ward off infection. Everybody must be taking turmeric. It's another herb that is anti-inflammatory. Now that we are in the COVID-19 era, thank God it's going away. So take your turmeric as tea, put it in your stew as a spice, and then don't forget ginger. Ginger is a digitalis that even if you have the cough or you have that irritated throat, you can mix ginger plus honey and then lick it. And to our government in Nigeria, I will say thank you to how far you have taken us in the development of African traditional medicine. You have even given us a whole department in the Ministry of Health. Well, we even have a Director General in the Ministry of Health in Abuja. But the remaining thing that I will keep asking Nigerian government is, please help us to pass the bill of traditional medicine. Pass the traditional medicine bill, so that Nigeria can move forward, so that we can also be at par with other member countries of WHO. If you pass the bill, there will be mass production of African traditional medicine from Nigeria for export, you understand? And it will give us income. It will provide employment for our youth or for everybody. And of course, the healing will also be better. People will have more, once we've passed the bill, people will have more confidence in using African traditional medicine that has evidence, meaning the ones with dosage and administration.
Thank you very much, Quincy Ayodele, pioneer herbal medicine practitioner in Nigeria. Thank you so much for spending this time with us.
Thank you.
Nigeria is indeed naturally blessed. We have natural plants that can be used for the promotion of our health in abundance, so much so that we can never exhaust them. And these are gold mines on which you and I sit upon. Let's look in the direction of the promotion of herbal medicine. And of course, with the incorporation with orthodox medicine, I'm sure that the sky is just the beginning for us. That is my own take and my own understanding. Let's do this again, same time next week, because this is where we draw the curtain on this week's episode of Executive Discuss. Till then, I remain Ololade Adiniji Adele, telling you to believe in Nigeria. Bye-bye.